I guess I'm now on my dev racism arc, because today we're talking about the smoke detector chirp meme. Have you ever been playing an online game, maybe on PC, more commonly on Xbox, and you're talking to people in the game over voice? Everything's fine until you realize that one guy in the call, you can hear his smoke alarm going off in the background?
Leave me alone!
I don't mean like a constant alarm, like he's got a fire going in his house or something. I mean like that tiny, loud, annoying beep every 30 seconds when the smoke alarm battery is running low and it needs to be changed. Like that, and it just keeps beeping. I don't know, man, how the fuck can you not get annoyed with that? How can you just sit there and play video games all day while that beep goes off every 30 seconds? I would fucking lose it. And yet, there's videos all over the internet right now of people, yes, predominantly black people, just ignoring the low battery alarm on their smoke detectors.
I want to give you guys a brief history and basic overview of the Tantive 4 spaceship. It was used by Leia in the original Star Wars film. On the port side airlock holds.
Some of them appear to be slightly embarrassed, like for example this one woman who's reading off her old smutty fanfic writing from when she was 16.
Then the wetness. His thrust, his tongue deep into my ass, licking all of my anal walls. He sucked and licked and slurped and tongue, going from my pussy to my ass and then back up again. He pressed deep down into my pussy, shaking his head back and forth. I felt like the facial stubs all over my...
Some of them appear to not notice at all, like this young rapper getting interviewed in his house.
AI is going to affect the music industry.
AI, what you mean? You rapping?
Artificial intelligence.
I don't know nothing about none of that.
Who's AI?
Artificial intelligence? No?
Good luck.
Some of them have done this on national TV, like this American track star who failed a drug test and is now talking to the news about it.
What happened? What led up to this positive test?
Just honestly, I want to take responsibility for my actions. I know what I did. I know what I'm supposed to do.
Apparently this guy recorded his rap song in his house because the smoke alarm chirp made it into the cut.
Bruce Wayne, sleep on the yacht for like 20-some days.
Here's a black woman being interviewed by a black man, and the man asks, "How in the hell do you live like this?" And she simply replies, "What alarm? I don't hear anything."
First of all, you're definitely a single woman because you got the single woman tell. That damn smoke detector.
Mm-hmm.
How do you live with that?
The way that I've been living with just being a single woman is
No. Specifically, the smoke detector that keeps chirping. How do you live with that?
Can you just elaborate more on like what do you mean by the smoke detector?
It keeps going beep.
Like red flags?
That smoke detector that's beeping in the background. There's a smoke detector. It beeps every 30 seconds and it goes beep.
I don't hear anything beeping. Did you just hear it again? Because I don't hear anything.
Wait for it. Told you guys they don't hear it after a while. There it was.
This whole phenomenon came to my attention when Herman Grimm was interviewed for being given $2 million by New York State as reparations, as compensation for the fact that he failed the national teacher's examination multiple times.
And they knew I wasn't taking them serious because I just wasn't taking them serious. You know, would you send me letters and tell me about lawsuit? Because I know lawsuit either they go through or they won't go through. But it's when I finally got it in my head, they kept pushing and kept explaining things piece by piece.
Yes, we're giving money to failures now, welcome to 2023. Their logic is, presumably, the test was racially biased or some shit, when there's no real evidence to the contrary. But in any case, throughout the entire interview, you can hear the telltale beep. Of course, this became a meme real quick. Lots of people making fun of the whole thing, poking fun at themselves, you know how the internet is.
I don't know why, but I am offended.
First off, that's hella ignorant and stereotypical.
This is actually a somewhat historical phenomenon. You guys know about the radio show Loveline? It started back in 1983. People would call in and ask the host for advice about their love life. As the show went on, the hosts began to notice a correlation between impoverished callers and a smoke alarm chirp in the background.
I'll talk to Michelle, who's 16. Michelle?
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
I was just wondering about how I can get into the radio business and journalism and stuff like that, because I know you're like the coolest person right now.
Yeah, smoke detector. All right, we're going to need to focus on that. First, I need to pace your smoke detector, so it went off about
Yeah, it
13.
goes off a lot. I don't even hear it anymore.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Why don't you replace the battery?
Go.
Because that's my dad's job.
Went off about 13:22, and it usually goes off between 30 and 35 seconds. So I'm looking for something any second now. Let's just focus. Stay in this. There we go. Okay, that went off at 57.
You hear that? She was even surprised the host noticed. So, what's actually going on here, guys? Well, a study from 2007 called Waking Effectiveness of Alarm for Adults Who Are Hard of Hearing showed that your average high-pitched smoke alarm failed to wake 43% of their test participants. So it might be the case that some people just can't hear some frequencies. I've heard the claim online that black people are genetically predisposed to not hear high-pitched sounds, based on data showing that black people are more likely to die in house fires. Their logic is, if they can't hear the smoke alarm going off, they're not going to get out when there's a fire. But that doesn't intuitively sound right to me. Why the hell would that be a genetic adaptation? Even if I were to go full race realist mode, it seems to be the case that the ability to hear animals with higher pitched sounds is something that would actually be useful if your ancestors were adapted to living in Africa. Okay, well, what if people lose their ability to hear higher pitched sounds over time? All the people in today's videos are at least in their early 20s. And you know what? That's actually true. That's what was at the source of the Lavender Town controversy. For those of you who don't know, Lavender Town is a location in the first generation of Pokemon games. It's home to the Pokemon Tower, a cemetery where dead Pokemon are put to rest in little urns. The whole town has a drab color scheme. The characters who are there are predominantly older people who are rather dour. The whole place feels like death, like it's haunted or it's creepy. And the music for the town is also quite creepy, at least as creepy as you can expect from a Game Boy game. Have a listen. Here's the interesting thing though. This game came out back in the mid-1990s, and adults who go back and play the game now have reported that the music in Lavender Town feels off. Like it doesn't sound like it should, as they remember it sounding. And this is a widespread phenomenon. It's not just nostalgia goggles kicking in for one old boomer. Further investigation of the song actually discovered something very interesting. The creators of Pokemon wanted Lavender Town to feel creepy, so they used a lot of discordant notes and high-pitched background hums in the music track. However, at certain parts of the music, the octave goes so high that teenage and adult human ears can't actually hear it anymore. Kids under 12 can, but the human ear commonly loses the ability to hear that frequency over the course of puberty. And so, your average adult listening to that part of the track actually can't hear some of the notes. However, they can feel it, if that makes sense. Those people who can't hear the note commonly report mild headaches or blurred vision while listening to the music, which spawned a whole rumor mill about Japanese kids playing Pokemon back in the day and then being induced with extreme paranoia or committing suicide, leading to the music being changed in subsequent releases. This was all bullshit, but the urban legend persists to this day. By the way, here's the section of the song in question. If you can't hear the high-pitched whine in the back of the music, congratulations, your ears are fully developed. I still can though, so I guess I really am a man-child. At this point I was thinking, maybe the people who can't hear smoke detector chirps, it's the case that the chirps just so happen to be in that range that people lose the ability to hear as they get older? It's kind of a stretch, and also a serious design flaw in smoke detectors. But maybe this explains it? A 2008 study says that yes, in a more general sense, adults do experience hearing loss as they age. But this actually completely destroyed my original idea, because white people suffer hearing loss at a much higher rate than black people as they get older. So yeah, it's not that black people can't hear the chirp. They can hear it. They just fucking ignore it. In fact, you can even find videos where they explicitly say, yes, I am ignoring it. Someone's gotta change it and it's not gonna be me. Like, what the fuck, guys? And then they even complain when you bring it up, like, keep your nose out of my business. Okay, let's actually get to the bottom of this, once and for all. Here's another joke TikTok about the whole thing.
I said, motherfucker! What part about do you not understand? Is it the or the Because everybody on Xbox Live can hear how fucking broke you are through your headset.
You asked for this.
It's been 4 weeks, 3 days, 12 hours, and 9 minutes. Get some AA batteries and get the fuck off the couch. Wait, hey. It's only been 3 days. You son of a bitch. Are you taking another battery?
Pretty funny, but it also gives us some insight. The smoke detector says to the guy, everybody can hear how broke you are. While some people online are more than willing to chalk this up to race, the predominant factor seems to be social class, as poor whites do this too. There's just more poor blacks per capita than poor whites in America. I can think of a couple of explanations for this behavior. Some people are actually so fucking poor, they genuinely can't spare the couple of bucks for a new battery. Also, some people live in poorer neighborhoods, where apartments are crowded together, walls are thin, and they've simply learned to ignore annoying or intrusive noise, to the point that it's just been filtered out like any other type of white noise. It's not that they can't hear it, it's that for decades they've categorized it as noise to ignore rather than noise to deal with. And like I said in my Portland video a couple days ago, poverty is just as much a mindset as it is a material condition. A poor person has developed habits that simply can't be shook out of by giving them a pile of money. A great example is us here. I remember when this channel first started up, the mindset of all of us was do everything as cheap as possible. We can't spend for a good microphone or whatever because we genuinely believed that whatever little money we had from our day jobs was gonna run out, that tomorrow's paycheck was simply not guaranteed. Why spend $200 on a quality starter mic if in a month we'll be destitute? The poor mentality is the genuine belief there's a decent chance of whatever money flow you currently have coming in that's keeping your head just above water will be cut off. So everything is done in the cheapest possible way. Everything is slapdash and shoestring. Long term just, quote, isn't a priority right now. In fact, you can often tell by the terminology some of these people use that they have this mindset. You'll often hear something like, well, at least I'm doing something when they're asked about their bare minimum effort. Or they'll say, I'm not going to be able to make it when they're bailing on a prior commitment. The tone and word choice implies that they feel like the situation is simply out of their control, that their efforts just aren't good enough, and that they're used to them being not good enough. This mentality is often fostered by living in poverty, but getting out of poverty often doesn't change it. And yes, this trickles down back to the smoke alarm thing. A great example of this, by the way, is how Joy Reid, of all fucking people, yes, MSNBC host and Harvard graduate Joy Reid, still can't be fucking arsed to change her batteries on her smoke detector.
Mr. This is where woke comes to die. Little mini Ron DeSantis, the little tiny governor of Florida, the tiny and I would say probably the most functionally racist governor in America, Ron DeSantis. Turns out he's super anti-immigration, super anti-woke, but his great-great-grandmother, Luigi Colucci, came to the United States not on the Nina, the Maria, or the Santa Maria, as he might have you believe, given his complete devotion to the founders and to the people who colonized this country originally and their absolute and total moral goodness. But actually, his folks came here in 1917. So Luigi Colucci, his great-great-grandmother on his mother's side, came to the United States in February of 1917, a couple of months before the signing of an immigration act, the 1917 Immigration Act, which barred undesirable immigrants. What were undesirable immigrants back then?
This is why attitudes about debt are very different between poor people and not rich people, let's say non-poor people. For a poor person, debt is interest. You've got to pay more money, which is more problems down the road. A poor person's advice is never go into debt because they've seen other people go into debt and get fucked by it. And you know what? Fair enough. People can get fucked by debt, it's no joke. But another way to view debt is as investment. And this is how I had to think of it. I had to get out of that why shouldn't I buy a new microphone mindset. Consider it like this. Let's say that you want to start up a business, but you don't have the money to buy the equipment that you need. So you get a shitty menial job for a year, you save up the cash, and then you launch your business on the side. Okay, that's great. In fact, that's what I did. But alternatively, you could take out a loan and rather than waiting a year, launch your business right now. Yes, you'll be on the hook for interest, and that sucks. But if your business is successful, you'll have launched it 1 year earlier. Does the extra money that you make by launching 1 year earlier, 1 extra year's worth of profits, outweigh the interest you had to pay in the loan? Is there an opportunity cost for not launching? Like if there's a trend you can ride right now to maximize profit that won't exist 1 year later? You can actually math this out. And in a lot of cases, not going into debt because you're afraid of the interest ends up costing you money long term. Now that is a dangerous road to go down. Lots of people hear that advice and think, so I can just go into debt and that's fine. No. Debt is a tool. You need to use it in an intelligent way. Using debt stupidly is just as dumb as not using it at all. if you take on debt strategically, you also need to have a solid plan to get out of it. This is what I mean when I say, and when frankly a lot of motivational channels also say, that poverty is a mindset. It's learned helplessness. You internalize a series of behaviors designed to do the bare minimum because that is genuinely all that you can do in some cases. In some cases it isn't, but you just can't see it. But in some cases it genuinely is. There is a middle ground between buying a new pair of shoes every week because you swim in money and don't care about waste, and riding your old shoes for a decade so hard that you're supergluing and stapling them back together constantly, when you're causing so many long-term problems to your health that will cost you way more than any savings you're getting right now. And this is why poor people don't change the batteries on their smoke alarms, causing everybody the world over to hate them on Xbox Live voice chat and work Zoom meetings and COVID online schooling sessions. Because in their mind, spending $1 on a new battery is a high price to pay when you could literally just live with it and keep the dollar. For some of them, maybe they're so poor that $1 actually does break the bank. But I'm willing to bet that for a lot of them, they simply live in the moment, to the point that they genuinely feel like tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so it's better to keep that dollar now just in case. I'm not shitting on this mentality because I've been poor, and I remember when it actually was the case that next week's paycheck might not be enough to cover that extra $1. But too many people hold on to this mentality even as they get ahead in life, and it poisons their future success. The smoke detector chirp meme is pretty funny, but it often belies a high time preference mindset. Also, it's fucking annoying. I hate listening to you fucks with a goddamn ceiling bird going off. I don't care how poor you are, change the fucking battery, you broke ass nigga.